Okay, we'll get started. Now, a lot of you probably might have noticed, why do I have a black and white image with me? The reason being, when we see things in color, sometimes it's quite distracting for our eyes, at least for some of us, that we cannot gauge how dark or how light is this red or orange here, or this yellow. So to understand that, I always keep a black and white image to understand. Look how dark we need to put this. If this is yellow here, it is so light, but the area around this is really dark here, which helps this pop or make it look very real. Same here, if you can see this red, look how dark this is. But the next to it, this is almost like black or brown you can use, but this is darker. So this is very important when you're painting realism, so that they look in 3D, they look like beats. If you all put the same value or everything is light, then they won't look like beats. So it's very important to understand this, and the black and white image is very, very helpful. So I always use this, and if you ever have trouble in understanding how much paint to pick, should it be a lot of red, should it be very light, this is a great way to gauge. All right, we'll get started here. We'll first actually paint these stalks here. The reason being, uh, once you finish on the top, we can let them dry, because once you're painting on the bottom, if it is already quite wet, you won't be able to paint and your hands will get messy. So I'm going to paint first these yellow areas. Okay. So let's pick some yellow. I'm just going to take some yellow, add some water. Keep it really like a tea or coffee consistency, which means more water and less paint. Okay. And I'm going to just paint this directly here, like a wet on dry. No water first, just paint. Excuse me. Excuse me. So we did the yellow here. I'm going to take that blue and mix some yellow in it to make some green, some nice light green. If you already have some green, you can use something from the tube. Just paint slightly on the top. And again, this is again going to keep tea to coffee consistency. So it's going to be lighter, but darker than the yellow. Okay? Because it needs to really pop out. Some more yellow here. Taking some green. take a little bit of extra blue to make this green a little more darker. And every time I paint, I keep looking at my picture to see what to paint next. Okay. So we'll let this dry for 2 minutes. And then we need some darker greens and some browns maybe. Okay. How do you make the darker green? I'm going to add the same blue with some yellow. This time less yellow so that it's darker. And also I'm going to keep the consistency, a little bit of the milk consistency. So it's going to be dark. Okay. Coming on this side, I'm going to paint on this area here. Paint more darks here. While that green is wet, I'm going to take some brown and I'm going to just put it on that green here so that those colors mingle with each other right on the paper. Instead of the palette, I'm going to do it on the paper. I'm going to take more greens. Huh. While those areas are drying, we can take some brown and fill in these areas. Just a few areas here and there. Then I'll take some blue, adding it on the brown, just to make some darks here. I think I forgot something here, so I'll just finish this. Okay, I'll give you all a break so that you can catch up and then we'll go on to the beets. Okay, when you look at these beets, one thing what you need to really notice or observe is they're all different. Okay, they look similar in color, they probably look similar in shape, but they're actually quite different. And this is what we're going to try to achieve, that we try to paint them in different colors and make them look different instead of just all like this. So we call them beat number 1, 2, 3, 4. That way it'll be easy to manage like what are we trying to achieve. And you can probably make one beat the hero of the painting. It could usually be the lightest beat or the darkest beat or some weird shaped beat. I think this could be the hero. It's really dark here, or it could be this one as well because the light is hitting very well here. But let's keep the darkest one here. Okay, this will be the hero, which means we're going to make this really dark and let it pop out when you look at the painting. Oh wow, everybody's going to notice that particular beat. Okay, that is very important that you choose something in your painting that will become the hero or like the wow moment of the painting, because these beats are right now competing with each other. So we want to make sure that they all look different and one beat really strikes out. Okay, let's get started. Maybe this is the kind of the lightest one. So we'll start with this one. You can see there's so many colors that are going on here. There is yellow, there's red, there is orange, there is brown and purple. So how are we going to achieve this? We're going to do a wet on wet technique. We're going to put water first and then add the paints first. Then we add the paints. And you can see there is a small area here which is almost white. How are we going to paint that? We're not going to paint anything there. We're just going to make sure maybe just mark that area slightly and not touch any paint there. No water, no paint. We're going to keep it separate. We're going to let it go. Okay. What are the colors we need? We have I have some quinacridone gold or yellow, whatever you have. Some brown. I'll do some orange, some red, so that we can all put together and make it look really colorful. Okay. So first I'm going to just add water, making sure I'll leave that area separate and not put any water or paint there. I'm going to make sure it goes down. Wet it well. Put a good amount of water. You should be able to see that sheen. Okay. Then I'm going to first start with this quinacridone gold here. This is the gold here. It's almost like a shiny brown, you can say. And I'm going to make it really light, like a tea consistency. While this is wet, I'll take some orange. Orange is going to be, again, like a coffee consistency, so not too thick. You can see that I'm focusing in the middle where I need more orange. And again, don't be too tight on this. Just let it go. Just let the colors mingle. You're just basically touching it and the colors will do their own thing. Then I'll go with some red. This is going to be like a milky consistency. Less water, more paint. And I'm just going to come to the first half, or little less than a half area. Same here. While this is wet, I'll take some purple. Very lightly, almost like a coffee consistency. Add some purple here. Here I'll take some more purple. This is going to be almost like a milk to creamy, which means really less water, nice thick paint. And I'm going to just go on in the end. Not getting too inside the painting. It's just dark here. Okay. Now we can let this go. A small thing I forgot here. We have to come down and do it. It's also wet. That's all. This is beat number 1. Okay. We did all wet on wet, so the colors could mingle with each other and they could just form their own color palette without us going back and forth so many times. Okay. This is how we're going to continue all the other beats, where we're going to do a little variation each time. Sometimes adding more red, sometimes maybe adding more purple, sometimes adding more orange to make sure they all look different. I'll come to the darkest beat later, but here we're going to do the other beats as well. Okay, I'll give you all a minute to catch up and then we'll move on to the other beats. If you have any questions, please let us know. Okay, so let's move on to the other one. Let's do this one because I think this is the next lightest beat here. Same concept. I'm going to make sure there's this area that is untouched. Okay. So no color there. Following the wet on it, I'm going to wet this area with some paint. I'm going to use the same quinacridone gold. Add some gold here. Quinacridone gold gives a really good shine here and golden beads obviously. So we are making sure we get some gold here. I'm going to use some orange again. I'm going to get it in the lower portions lightly. This time I'll use a different red. This is more on the pink side. Okay. So they look a little different here. Same thing, I'm going to take some purple. We'll get we'll just move it down some of the areas. Maybe tiny more red here in between. I keep looking at the picture to see where I need more color. Okay. Sometimes you cannot make that decision when you start your first stroke, and as you go, you may add some color or remove some color. Always go slow, because in watercolor it's always easier to add more than to remove, because it's paper. And if you try to scrub it too much, it gets ripped off, and you won't like your painting. So here we finish with the beat number 2. So continue painting, and we'll move on to the third one in a minute. Ah, just softening it with some damp brush so that we don't get any hard edges. Want to keep the whole thing very soft. Okay, let's move on to the peak number 3. Okay, here we can add a little bit of brown as well instead of just purple. So we'll do that. Same thing. I'm going to mark this small area where there is no paint. I'm going to put some water, plain water. Same, take some golden color. This time I'm going to keep the golden a little less. Maybe just at the bottom here. Try to put the other colors more prominent. Little orange. Then some red here. I'm going to take the other red that's more on the pink side and add some more here. I'm taking a little bit of brown actually now. Okay, let me add it to these some areas here. Make it look really dark. Then I'm going to take this purple. This is going to be almost like a very creamy consistency. So really less water, more paint. And I'm going to try to make sure that I stay close to the edges here and let the paint do its thing by spreading its paint where there is water, where it's wet. Okay. You can see they all three look different, right? They already look different. And this is very important. I'll give you all a minute to catch up. Next, we are going to go to this area. And I think I'm going to start from the top here. Just wet this area with clean water. I'm going to put some golden here, quinacridone gold here. Then some orange, almost like a tea to coffee consistency, not tea. Some orange on this side. Red, almost like a milk consistency. Milk to creamy. This is going to be the darkest color here. I forgot that there was a small space to be left empty. That's okay. Let's still move on. I'll take the other red as well. And then I'll take some purple, almost like a coffee consistency. And then the bottom here, a little more darker. Okay, now that we have the very important elements covered, we have to do some fine tuning to make it look real because we're not yet done. We need to still do the top of the beats here, some dark areas here, right? So we'll get on with the painting one by one. We'll take some yellow. There's some areas that need some yellow, almost like a tea to coffee consistency, lighter yellow. And yellow sometimes dry light. So it's okay if you feel, oh, my yellow looks very dull. You may have to go and add some yellow. They just dry very light. Okay, same thing here. We need some yellow here. Okay. Next. You're going to take some, well, come here. We need some more dark here. So we'll take a little bit of purple here. Add a little more of the depth here in this area. Maybe add some brown. These nooks. Just add some details here. And you'll see probably I got a very hard edge when I did this purple. So I'll just take a clean damp brush and just try to blend in here. Okay. Just soften it, the edges, just gently, just dab them slightly. So they just blend in. I think a little bit of red again on this area. Sometimes, like I said, the colors blend in and then they look a little dull. So just adding a few here and there. Then I'll take that red again to add on this side. We also need some brown. Maybe I'll add some brown and blue. I think, wait. Excuse me. Just taking some brown. This is like a burnt umber or something. And we need some dark areas here. Okay. Same thing, we'll take some brown. And we need some here on the top as well. So I'm just going to dab. Also mix a little bit of purple here on the top. Just give some variety to the color here. Same thing to the other areas. Get some darks here. And to continue here. Some in the bottom. I also take some dark pink and add some texture here. If you see, it has a bit of a texture. Just small dabbles here, dots. Maybe some yellow here. Okay. So if you see, we have almost done with the beads, but there's still a very big element missing here, and that is the shadows. Okay. Without shadows, you'll feel they're just floating in thin air. So we need shadows, and you can see the shadows here are beautiful. They are dark, they are so bright. I mean, not bright, they're dark, they're very intense. So, how do we do shadows, and what is the color of the shadow? Shadows usually are the colors, one, let's say, it's kept on the table. So, it could be a combination of some brown and some of these colors reflecting on this. It's never black. It is never black or gray. So it is the color of whatever is the object is kept on, and the light reflecting from the same object as well. So this is the shadow is going to be a combination of these things. Okay. You can use some of the black, but usually these colors are very important when you do shadows. Okay. So we'll also create shadows same way, but I'll give you all a minute to catch up and then we'll do the shadows. Okay. So for this, we'll need a lot of paint and lot of color. You can also use some black if you like, but I stay away from it. But I can show you a little bit of black of how it would look. I have some black as well. It's actually gray, paints gray, but I rarely use black in my palette. All right, we'll start our shadows. Okay, let's start with this area. Okay, this is going to be really careful. You'll have to be very careful when you put some water here. I'll put some water so that it gives a nice fluidity when the paints move. And I'm going to just stick to this area, won't go beyond. It's okay if it gets a little bit into this purple beet here, because they're going to all mingle into each other. So I'm going to take this brown here. Add some purple and maybe use some of the black, and you can see how dark it will become. Maybe I'll use just the black and you'll see how boring this color becomes. It just, okay, went too far. Okay. Huh. For this one, we can also add some of the red in the shadows. Even this, you can add some red. Yeah. Maybe you can add some red, some brown, and some purple. Continue the same thing here. Maybe I'll just use black here. Lost a bit of shape here, but that's okay. We'll find the shape. Just smoothing out so that they look clean. Okay, and maybe on the top you can add some more dark areas. You know, I lost some of the drawing here, but that's okay. And I know there were a lot of stocks in this, but I didn't want to complicate it and, you know, add too many stocks. So I just kept a few. But you can see that how, when you look at the painting, this one pops out. Because this, we made the hero of a painting, the main attraction of the painting. And I think once it dries, sometimes you have to go and add a little more dark here for it to look a little different. Some colors dry very light, so you'll find that they look light here. But overall, I think we're done with the painting, and in the end, you just have to sign, and you can sign here, wherever you want, not in the middle somewhere, but you can sign. And yeah, that's about it.